Imagine finally becoming the King and Queen of England, the moment you've prepared for your entire life, the crown placed on your head, the world watching, only to look around and realize you're basically alone. No army of working royals to help, no siblings or cousins to share the load, just you, your spouse, and a 1,000-year-old institution that suddenly feels very, very heavy. According to a royal expert, that's exactly what Prince William and Princess Kate are staring down when they eventually succeed King Charles, and the phrase being used to describe it is a crying shame. But here's what nobody's talking about. How did the world's most famous family end up with such a thin front line, and what does that mean for the future of the monarchy? Let me walk you through it, because this story has more layers than a royal wedding cake. First, a mini payoff so you understand the scale of the problem. Royal expert and biographer Robert Hardman recently gave an interview to The Telegraph, and he didn't sugarcoat anything. He said, and I quote, "I think it's a crying shame that when William takes the throne, he and Catherine are effectively looking at quite a significant spell on their own, carrying the whole show." Let that sink in. The whole show. Every ribbon cutting, every state dinner, every foreign tour, every charity visit, all on two pairs of shoulders. That's not a royal family. That's a royal couple with a really, really long to-do list. And the immediate question that pops into my head is, where did everyone else go? Well, according to reports, the front line of working royals has been thinning for years, and I'm not just talking about the obvious departures. Yes, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle stepped back and moved to California. That's old news. But there's also the situation involving Prince Andrew, who, according to sources, is no longer a working royal. Without getting into the details that everyone already knows, the association with disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein has made Andrew persona non grata in royal circles. He denies any wrongdoing, according to public statements, but the damage to the family's reputation has been significant. And, more importantly for this conversation, he's not available to help William and Kate carry the load. That's one more working royal off the board. But here's the curiosity gap that keeps me up at night. Even before Harry left and Andrew stepped back, the working royal roster was already shrinking naturally. Think about it. The late Queen and Prince Philip are gone. Princess Anne is in her 70s, and don't get me wrong, she's an absolute machine, but she can't work forever. Prince Edward and Sophie, the Countess of Wessex, are also getting older. King Charles himself is 76, so by the time William becomes monarch, which hopefully won't be for many more years, the generation above him will be even less active. And the generation below him? His children are still kids. Prince George is only 10. So who's left? Pretty much just William and Kate. Now, let me give you another dopamine hit of insight. This isn't just about having fewer people to cut ribbons. It's about the sheer volume of engagements that the monarchy is expected to perform every single year. According to historical data, the late Queen used to do hundreds of events annually. Even in her 90s, she was still showing up. But when you have only 2 people doing the work of what used to be 6 or 8, something has to give. Either they burn out or they have to scale back expectations, and either way, the public notices. People start asking, where is everyone? Why aren't there more royals out there? And that's when the criticism starts. But here's the twist that makes this whole situation even more fascinating. According to some commentators, the thinning of the front line isn't entirely accidental. There have been reports over the years that King Charles wants a slimmed-down monarchy. He's talked about it publicly, the idea that fewer working royals would mean less taxpayer burden and a more modern, efficient institution. Well, be careful what you wish for, because slimmed down is starting to look anorexic. When William takes over, he might find that slimmed down means just him and Kate standing in a really big palace wondering where all the help went. I'm being a little sarcastic here, but you get the point. Let me add my personal opinion for a moment, because I think this is genuinely concerning. I'm not a royalist or an anti-royalist. I just watch this stuff like a slow-moving drama series, and from where I'm sitting, the monarchy has a real problem on its hands. You can't be a world-famous institution with centuries of tradition and then have only 2 people doing all the public-facing work. It's not sustainable. Even the most energetic couple in the world would collapse under that weight. And what happens if one of them gets sick? We've already seen how the public rallies around Kate when she's unwell. But if she needs time off, who steps in? There's no bench, there's no backup. That's the crying shame that Robert Hardman is talking about. Now, let's talk about the Andrew factor a little more, because it's impossible to ignore. According to reports, the royal family's reputation has suffered due to the ongoing associations and controversies. And while Andrew strenuously denies any wrongdoing, the reality is that he's been sidelined completely. He no longer carries out public duties, he doesn't represent the crown, he's essentially a private citizen who happens to live on his brother's estate. And that means one more body that could have been helping William and Kate is now not. I'm not saying he should be out there, that's not my call, but from a purely logistical standpoint, the roster has shrunk. And here's another layer that people don't talk about enough. Prince Harry's departure didn't just remove one working royal, it removed 2, because Meghan was also a working royal. And they were young, energetic, and popular with certain demographics. Love them or hate them, they brought a different energy to the institution. Now that energy is in Montecito, California, doing Netflix deals and podcast interviews. Whether you think that's a loss or a gain depends on your perspective, but from a pure headcount perspective, it's a loss. 2 more people who aren't there to help William open a community center in Birmingham or shake hands at a Commonwealth event. So where does that leave us? According to Robert Hardman, when William becomes king, he and Kate will be carrying the whole show for a significant period. That means years, possibly a decade or more, where the face of the British monarchy is essentially 2 people. Now, I want to pause here and give you a positive spin, because I don't want to be all doom and gloom. There is an argument that a smaller, tighter front line could actually be more effective. Fewer people means less infighting, less scandal potential, and a more consistent message. William and Kate are incredibly popular. Their approval ratings are consistently high, so maybe, just maybe, they can pull it off. Maybe 2 people really can do the work of 6, if they're smart about it, and if the public gives them some grace. But here's the curiosity gap that keeps me watching. What happens when Prince George comes to age? He's only 10 now, but in another 10 or 15 years he'll be a young adult. Will he be expected to jump into the front line immediately? That's a lot of pressure for a kid who's still in school. And what about Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis? Will they be drafted into royal service, whether they like it or not? The monarchy has a history of reluctant royals, people who didn't ask for the spotlight but got it anyway. I hope that doesn't happen to William's children, but if the front line is as thin as experts predict, the family might have no choice. Let me give you another mini payoff. According to some royal commentators, the solution might be to bring back extended family members who are currently on the sidelines. There are cousins, like the Princess Royal's children, who have largely stayed out of royal duties. Could they be called up? Possibly, but they don't have the same public recognition or training, and the public might not accept them as legitimate working royals, so that's a risky move. Another solution? Change the entire model. Stop expecting royals to do hundreds of events a year. Shift to a more modern, less traditional approach, where quality matters more than quantity. That might work, but tradition is a hard thing to break, especially for an institution that literally defines itself by tradition. Now, here's my personal take after looking at all the evidence. I think the monarchy will survive. It always does. But the transition under William and Kate is going to be bumpy. There will be criticism, there will be headlines about how they're doing too much or not enough, there will be comparisons to previous generations, and through it all they'll just have to keep showing up. That's the deal when you're born into this family. You show up, you smile, you wave, and you pretend everything is fine. But behind the scenes, according to reports, there's genuine concern. The crying shame isn't just a catchy phrase, it's a real worry shared by people who understand how the monarchy works. Let me leave you with one final thought, and then I want to hear from you. Imagine being William. You've known your whole life that you'll be king one day, but you probably thought you'd have more help. You probably thought your father would be there for longer. You probably thought your brother would be by your side. And now, according to reports, you're looking at a future where it's mostly just you and Kate. That's a lonely crown. That's a heavy burden, and I genuinely feel for them. At the same time, they've been preparing for this their entire lives. If anyone can do it, they can. But it's still a crying shame that they have to. So, what do you think? Is the thinning front line a real crisis for the monarchy, or is it just the natural evolution of an outdated institution? Should William and Kate be worried, or will they rise to the occasion? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, because this royal drama is only going to get more interesting as we get closer to the next reign.